again, today is about 21-day habit reset, okay? And as well as the spring program we are launching March 31st. So we're going to go through all the things of focusing on habits today. The overview is all about, to start, why. Like, why are we doing this? Why are we doing 21 days? The themes of the program, and overall what our facility, what Avexia is about, is a lot about moving, eating, sleeping, and managing. Managing stress, managing your recovery. So we're going to go through those topics as well today. And then we're going to go over fat loss and muscle build protocols. So those are the two protocols that the clients will be doing in the spring program. And ultimately, you're choosing one or the other. There are some people that are like, well, I want to build muscle and lose body fat. You can do that at the same time, right? But we want to have at least one of these focuses for those 21 days. We'll then talk about what's next, key dates for this program. So again, if you have any questions, this will all be in here for you. And then Q&A. But again, open forum, ask me any questions, stop me. I like to chatter. So you guys just stop me whenever, okay? Let's do this, right? All right. So the why, right? Ultimately, it's to create a focused and intentional 21 days. And it's to help build momentum toward your goals, toward what you are wanting to focus on. We, here at Avexia, did a 7-day step challenge. Who did that? Yes, that was hard. That was challenging, right? And now we're trying to build on that momentum as well for 21 days. It takes 21 days to build a habit, right? So we are trying to emphasize a small period, small window of time to help build momentum. The program is designed to break through plateaus. So raise your hand if you've ever felt stuck, feel like you're doing all the right things, and it just doesn't work. Yep, we've all been there, right? So this is to help break through those plateaus and establish consistent routines and habits for you. So progress comes from consistency, right? We aren't here to be perfect. No one's going to be perfect in this, right? Consistency in these 21 days is going to help you accelerate your progress. So we will hone in on the nutrition, training, recovery, and mindset. A lot of the time, too, it is about mindset shifts that we need to make, especially about whether it's nutrition, whether it's how much you're training, right? A lot of it, too, can be in the mindset shift of stress, things that we have to manage on the outside of things. So the key to success is to start. So you guys are all starting now, and I'm so proud and happy that you guys are here with me. So this is great. All right, we're going to talk about move first. So movement. We have launched what we call skill sessions. So these are extra credits you guys can use, actually, if you are a member, with your membership, where it is 6 credits or 12 credits, 30-minute sessions with coach of choice. So for example, if you want specific mobility, you can buy skill sessions, with Coach Brian. If you want strength and conditioning, you can be with Coach Morgan for 6 to 12 credits, right? Same with strength or speed, Coach Dalen, nutrition, with me, whoever it is, right? Coach of choice. Those are to help you utilize our coach's expertise. So those are there for you as well. And when you're doing the program, you also get an extra session as well for more specific focuses.
Sorry to interrupt. You guys need a pen or something solid to write on. This is not a clipboard, but it will work. There you go. Anybody else want something to write on? Yeah, it's not a clipboard, but it's the closest right there. So we'll do this right. Yeah, I got you. I'll get you a sheet too.
Oh, yeah. You're welcome.
There you go. Yep.
All right. So movement, right? Daily movement helps with maintaining muscle and bone structure. Okay. It's going to boost our cardiovascular health. So heart health is super important, especially, again, if you're focusing on fat loss or muscle gain, right? Ultimately helping you burn fat more, helping you build muscle quicker. Starts a lot with our cardiovascular health. It's going to support joint health, increase caloric burn, regulate blood sugar, and boost your metabolism. Okay, so movement overall, we talk about a lot about this at the gym, trying to stay as active as possible. Eat, it's our favorite, okay? So talking a little bit about the meal plans. If you are in the program, you get a 3-week meal plan for specific fat loss or muscle gain. So in that, it will be in your app before the 31st. It will give you variety. It will also focus on one of fat loss or muscle gain emphasis, right? You can swap it out. So there's also a grocery list for each week. So say you don't like tofu, girl, swap it out for chicken, right? So you'll see a lot of different types of proteins, carbs. If you don't like them, you are able to swap them out from the grocery list, okay? The meal plans are very simple, right? And it is to focus on meal prepping for 21 days. So that might be the challenge for you, whether you are not meal prepping as much, right? Whether you need to focus on that more. So for 21 days, this might be one of your primary focuses is meal prepping. Okay, goal for eating, focusing on non-processed whole foods, so as little packaged foods as we can, nutrient-dense foods, and quality foods to help ensure your intake in various vitamins and minerals. Okay, that's what eating's all about, especially focusing on fat loss or muscle gain is the ultimate goal for those. Keep going. All right, sleep and manage, okay? So sleeping aids in recovery, okay? And it helps growing muscles, right? So the growth of your muscles happen when you are sleeping. That is the number one way we recover, especially in our hormones as well. That's when they start to reset. We digest the most. We use fat burning a lot during sleep. So sleep and managing stress. Stress affects weight loss or muscle growth. So whether you have chronic stress, whether you have different types of stress that pops in and out and you're not able to regulate that, it can affect hormonal changes. A lot of the time too, it can affect women more because of the types of hormones we have. Progesterone is increased a lot more with cortisol, so it increases our fat stores, right? So we want to manage that stress. Finding sleep routines and stress techniques, this should be integrated into the 21-day program. It doesn't have to be a focus, but if that, again, is something that you want to focus on, I would recommend writing that down in the next step sheet. Okay? So I want to ask a question about sleep. Do you guys have a sleep routine, a night routine before you go to bed that you do every night to help you relax? What do you do?
I have a cup of natural tea and then no phone, and usually just reading before I go to bed. I also do like a verbal journal before I go to bed, so it kind of clears my head of
I like that.
whatever, and then go to sleep.
I love that. That's really good. Anyone else? Yeah, I've become a reader. Cool. That's great. Same thing with stress, right? So we're trying to manage external factors. And again, finding some way to implement a slow period. So for me, one of my ways that I do this is I go on a walk. It's not a walk for exercise. I call it more of just a brisk walk. I look at the trees, I look at the houses, and it's more of like a reset of my mind from like a busy day, right? So that's kind of how I manage my stress. Is there anything else you guys like to do to manage stress?
Go to the gym.
Go to the gym. Hang out with us at Avexia. Yeah. Anything else?
Walk my dog.
Yeah.
I was at I could like couldn't get my breath right. I was like almost hyperventilating from all the stuff going on in the world. And I came to Dalen's class, and after I just felt so much better.
Yeah.
Same with the walking, when you walk fast, or even for like exercise walking.
Mm-hmm.
Listening to a podcast, and then you
Right.
helps.
It does. Sauna.
The sauna helps.
Great. Yep. Yeah, good. So we have a lot of tools here as well to help manage that stress. We're going to go into now fat loss versus muscle build. So you'll see first, we'll talk a lot about fat loss first, okay? And then you'll see as well keys to muscle build after this. And then some, again, you'll see some crossover as well when we talk about lifestyle habits when you're working on fat loss or muscle build, okay? So we're going to start with fat loss. Keys to fat loss. Biggest thing, number one, is being in a caloric deficit. Okay, so when you are in a caloric deficit, you are consuming fewer calories than what you are expending. So for example, if you work out 5 times a week, if you walk 10,000 steps a day, your output is higher and should be higher than how much you're taking in with food, right? So rule of thumb, the biggest thing is you want to find your maintenance calories, okay? Now, a lot of this too is going to be talking about tracking of your food. Reason why is because it's going to show you a picture of actually how much you're eating, and how much you should be eating if you want to maintain where you're at. Okay, so maintenance calories, if you want to stay the exact same, you're going to eat at maintenance. You're going to maintain that muscle, that body fat percentage, everything, right? To get into your deficit, one way you can do that is after you find your maintenance, you take and decrease by 500 calories. Okay, so that's more of like a standard type of deficit. So for example, say I need 2,000 calories to stay the exact same, I eat around 1,500 as my deficit every day. Okay, so consuming fewer than we burn. Another thing is high protein, right? High protein, you'll hear this a lot in muscle build as well, but it is to preserve muscle mass in this caloric deficit. Okay, so for example, if I have a client that's in a fat loss protocol, I give them their maintenance calories, we find their deficit. Most of the time, I will put their protein at about 30% of their calories. Okay, just because again, protein needs to be on the higher end when you are eating that amount of calories so that you are feeling full and you're preserving that muscle mass. So 30-35% is usually around the baseline for it. Number 3 is strength training, resistance workouts. So essentially what we're doing right here at Avexia, a lot of the time we're strength training 3 times a week, maybe 5 times a week outside of here as well to build and maintain muscle. Okay, so that's the overall goal for strength training. Number 4 is we are prioritizing whole foods, nutrient-dense foods. Okay, so this will help increase your fullness and regulate your blood sugar. So we're talking all kinds of high fiber foods, right? Oats, whole grains, beans to help you feel fuller. And then also as well healthy fats, which helps also regulate hormones. So avocados, nuts, seeds, oils. And then optimizing meal timing and nutrient timing. The biggest thing as well with fat loss too is before and after your workouts. Okay, so if you are in a fat loss phase, for example, depending on the time you're working out, so for example, if I have a client that's at 5:15 a.m. with Coach Morgan, they might not be eating something before their workout, but they will for sure have a protein and carb after their workout to help preserve muscle and feel fuller, right? If you're in the evening, you might need a carbohydrate and a protein before your workout and then also after at dinner. Does that make sense? Okay, so timing of the food, and then we'll talk as well in the meal plans about the everyday different types of meals, but we want to focus on that balanced plate, your proteins, your carbs, and your fats. Okay, part 2, okay, of keys to fat loss, managing stress, we've talked a lot about that, optimizing sleep. Chronic stress elevates your cortisol, which increases your fat storage, right? Most of the time as well for women, typically with elevated cortisol, we hold a lot of it in our midsection, right? Progesterone is increased, especially with high cortisol, so we hold it in our midsection more. So again, managing that stress is one of our key goals for fat loss. Talk a lot about hydration, electrolytes. Who takes electrolytes? Anything? Yes. What kinds do you take? Thorn?
The Gatorlight.
Gatorlight? Element? Yeah.
Noon.
Oh, I like Noon. Yes, that's good. Yeah. So there's so many different electrolytes out and to buy and purchase. We use Element here, Thorn as well, right? But it's ultimately used to help support metabolism, digestion, and performance, right? We're sweating a lot in our workouts. We're trying to help, again, get back into more of a hydrated state. We don't want to get dehydrated or any muscle cramps as well, is what it helps with. And then number 8 is going to be about NEAT, non-exercise activity thermogenesis. Try to say that really fast. It's essentially everything you're doing outside of the gym. Walking, fidgeting, standing desks, right? Shoveling snow, gardening, all the things, right? You are burning calories, even eating, you are burning calories, which is cool. Okay? Any questions? Keys to fat loss. Okay? Keys to muscle gain. So, on the flip side, we're talking about caloric surplus. So, the more you expend or your output is increased, the more you need to consume calories. So, your calories are going to be more than you burn. Okay? So, this also with caloric surplus is going to go off of how active you are. So, finding if you are moderately active, if you're an athlete, if you're lightly active, right? It's going to go off of more of your total daily energy expenditure to find your caloric surplus. Okay, so for example, say I burn, and my maintenance is around 2,000 calories, right? Ultimately, it's around 500 to 800 calories more, depending on how active you are. So close to about 3,000 calories I would need to eat. Okay. Number 2, same thing, high protein intake for muscle repair and growth. So protein is essential for muscle protein synthesis, essentially building new proteins in our body. Using our amino acids is what builds up our proteins in our muscles. Okay. So high protein, prioritizing carbs for energy and recovery. Okay, so carbs give us energy, especially for our brain and our muscles. So complex carbs are going to be more of like the fibrous foods, the oats, the beans. We talk about these because they're slow digesting, so they're not going to spike your blood sugar. Versus simple carbohydrates, it's like honey, rice, white rice, rice cakes, goldfish, right? Anything like that, that's going to spike your blood sugar, can give you quick energy, but then you might feel kind of that slump after you eat it, right? So one's not better than the other. It's depending on when we're needing that timing for that muscle gain, right? And we'll talk a little bit about timing of your foods for muscle gain as well. Healthy fats for hormonal support. So biggest thing, again, like we talked about, is it regulates your hormones, and it is a key to muscle growth. So if you have too high of progesterone, again, it's hard for us to keep building that muscle when you have high cortisol as well, right? If for men you have enough testosterone, that is going to make you have an easier time with building muscle because you have more of a level of testosterone in your body, right? So being able to have good healthy fat stores and healthy fatty foods to help you with hormonal support. Part 2. So talking about nutrient timing and meal distribution, the biggest thing, again, for muscle build is protein in each meal, okay? Focusing on protein in each meal, and then in your balanced plate, right, is going to be a focus on more carbs, fats, and then a portion or a serving of protein, right? The biggest thing as well with this is pre-workout and post-workout, you want to have a protein and a carb in both, okay? So with muscle build, you are ultimately going to eat a lot. It's going to feel like a job a little bit. You might be eating about 6 meals a day when you might be used to only 3. So more of like your timing is going to be in windows of maybe every 2 hours you are consuming food in your muscle build. Number 6, hydration electrolytes. So again, it is going to help with muscle recovery. I talk about the 3 R's. So the first one is about sodium. Sodium helps regulate your fluid balance. The second one is sodium. It helps, or potassium, excuse me. We're going to start with potassium. Potassium helps muscles contract and relax. Okay? And then number 3 is going to be your, what did I say? Sodium, potassium? Magnesium, thank you. I was like, what's the other one? Magnesium helps relax, helps your body relax, helps you sleep better. Okay, so those are your 3 R's. Regulate, relax, recovery, relax. Same thing. Does that make sense? 3 R's. Those are your 3 electrolytes you want to focus on. And all of those electrolytes that you guys have has sodium, potassium, magnesium in them, right? Others as well, sleep and recovery, right? So goal, 7 to 9 hours of sleep per night. Same thing with fat loss, right? Another thing too, for recovery optimization, we always recommend the Normatec or the sauna, right? A lot of the time too in the Normatec, it's going to help you when you feel sore or you have that lactic acid buildup. It's going to help those fluids try to move through your body and not be as sore, help you recover quicker, right? So that's going to help you optimize that as well. And then consistency, last one, and tracking progress. So again, just like fat loss too, we want to focus on some sort of tracking or seeing the big picture so that we can be aware of how much you're eating, what you're eating. Maybe we need to add more food, maybe we don't, things like that, especially when we are looking at a 21-day period. Any questions? All right, so now we're going to go fat loss versus muscle build, lifestyle habits. Again, a lot of these are going to go back and forth, okay? But we'll start with fat loss, consistent sleep. So consistent sleep, if you can get 7 to 9 hours every night, it's going to help regulate hunger hormones and optimize recovery. We're then going to talk about managing stress and fat loss. So deep breathing, meditation's another good one. Light activity, like a brisk walk, right? Things like that, listening to a podcast. Strength training, right? At least 3 times a week. I also put up conditioning because, again, we talked about cardiovascular health, right? So getting some sort of mixed training, whether you guys come to the hybrids is a great one, doing a build and then a sweat, right? Getting both of those in at the gym as well is going to help, especially burn more calories. And then again, we talked about accountability and tracking. So track your progress with photos. We have clients take photos of their food. We have them track through habits in the app. We do body measurements. We can do body measurements as well here, in-body scans, all the things, right? We're trying to see and track progress through this 21-day period. Okay, same with muscle build. So muscle build, biggest thing too is strength training, at least 3 times a week, if not 5 times a week. Okay, and you're talking a lot about progressive overload in your strength training. You are trying to continuously increase weight, reps, or volume when you are building muscle. Recovery and sleep, right? Talking about quality over quantity, right? So say you're in bed for 10 hours and you're asleep for half of that time, right? That's not ultimately going to be more quality, but if you're maybe asleep for 7 straight hours, it's going to be more quality for your body to recover and reset. Stress management, same thing, right? Always trying to focus on regulating our stress. And then rest days and deload weeks, especially for muscle build. So again, when we are pushing our weight, there is going to be some sort of days that you need to have fully be a rest day. Whether you go on a walk, go in the Normatec, sauna, whatever it is, at least 1 to 2 days of rest. Okay, and then deload weeks as well, which will be, if you are doing the muscle build protocol, you can talk to your coach, but there will be probably a deload week where you will lighten your load and do essentially more reps, not as heavy of weight, to let your muscles recover. Any questions on lifestyle habits? Perfect. Okay, so we're going to break down the meal plans. So essentially, when we are looking at meal plans for fat loss, maintains lean muscle mass. It's going to be protein-rich meals. Okay, so you want to have a protein in each meal in the fat loss meal plan. You're going to stabilize your blood sugar levels with complex carbs and fiber-focused foods. We're going to support satiety or fullness and appetite control with healthy fats and fiber. Okay, and then of course encourage a caloric deficit without starvation. I don't want you guys to be super hungry, right? But it will also maybe be a challenge if you are eating more than you used to, or you're eating less than you used to, right? So it's going to be a challenge of your body having to adapt. It's a change your body's going to have to go through. So we're trying to maximize energy without excessive calories, and that's why we're choosing the healthy fats, fiber, and protein. And then as well, we're going to have some sort of omega-3s, antioxidant-rich foods like vegetables and fruits to help with inflammation and support recovery. All right, so muscle build. This meal plan also maximizes protein synthesis. So again, builds up those proteins and muscles in our body. Each meal has at least 30 grams of protein in it. So when you are looking at that meal plan that we give in the program, you will see at least 30 to 40 grams of protein each meal, as well in your snacks. So again, we're trying to have consistent meals in this muscle build. As well as it enhances training performance and recovery, so carbohydrate timing, right? A lot of the time too, post-workout is going to have a lot of your carbohydrates in that meal, right? And as we talked about pre-workout, some sort of quick carb for your workout. Supports hormonal balance and reduces inflammation as well as the fat loss protocol. So healthy fats, reduce inflammation, salmon's in there, avocados, nut butters, things like that to help with inflammation. And then as well, it's going to prevent energy crashes and sustain performance. So balanced meals, we're not going to we're not going to want to feel energy dips, right? So that's why these meals are going to make you feel very, very satisfied. Shouldn't feel like you're eating too much. And again, it's going to depend on where you're starting at. If you ate less and you're eating more now, you might feel like you're forcing yourself to eat, right? But again, your body is going to adapt to this amount. Any questions on the meal plans? All right. Yeah?
I did have a question earlier. I know you mentioned that there's a difference between the simple and complex carbs,
Yes.
and that neither one is necessarily better or worse. But like you said that it can depend, like what you need, it depends on the circumstance.
Right.
What would you say is probably a priority to eat, like simple carbs over complex carbs, like right before a workout, right after a workout, or?
Yeah, that's a good question. So I would prioritize a simple carb before your workout. And the reason why, again, is it's going to increase your energy for that workout so that you can output more, right? Whether it's you're doing like a heavy resistance training or you're doing some sort of deload week, either way, you want that energy. So that's when you want to like for sure focus on more simple carbs. If you have a simple carb like honey, right, on piece of toast and peanut butter, right, it's not necessarily bad for you to have it not before workout, but it's what you are pairing it up with, right? So complex carbs, the goal for that is slow digesting. We don't want to spike our blood sugar too much and then become insulin resistant. So that's the goal. That's the ultimate goal of why simple carbs should be around your workout, because that's going to give you the quickest energy.
And go ahead. No.
An idea I used to do before I'd run, I'm trying to get tortilla, honey with peanut butter.
Yeah.
Just real quick.
Real quick.
Drink energy before you go.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's a great one. Yeah.
But after the workout, you would probably want to lean towards, or like out, like further away, like from the workout. Like if you work out at night or afternoon, in the morning, you would tend to want to lean towards a complex carb.
Yes and no. You could do a simple carb like a white rice, but have a protein and a healthy fat with it so that it's not spiking your blood sugar on its own. Like you're not just eating white rice. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Either way, you're going to have some sort of fiber. Like say you have broccoli with it, that has some fiber in it. So it's going to slow it down anyway. Okay. It's not that you're just eating the white rice. Does that make sense? Yeah. It's what you're supporting it with.
Yes.
Yeah. So you can like mix it up. Exactly. Yeah. Good question. All right. We're going to go to the supplements. So again, today's the last day for our supplement sale. So I kind of want to just break down the supplements that we put into the protocols for the fat loss and muscle build. Again, you do not have to have these, but they help supplement or enhance as well some things that you might not be getting in your nutrition. So whey protein for fat loss, it's to help provide more protein to feel fuller. So again, this is a great one if you're having trouble getting protein into your meals. Whey protein is going to be a great option. Super EPA, again, is going to help with anti-inflammatory or inflammatory responses in your body, especially you get super EPA from healthy fats, omega-3s as well, but this also helps enhance mood and helps with joint health. Fiber Mend. So we talked a lot about fiber. So again, if it's hard for you to get fiber, the goal for fiber for women is about 20 grams a day. For men, about 35 grams of fiber. Okay, so again, if you're having trouble, if you TMI might not be able to go to the bathroom as frequently or daily, Fiber Mend will help with that, right? Because again, it helps support digestion and help things flow through. And then probiotics, so helps support gut health, right? So a lot of the time it does start in our gut. If we don't have that healthy bacteria to help us break down foods, we can become backed up or clogged up and not be able to have that healthy gut to break down foods properly. So probiotic is also another great one to help with weight management. Okay, so that's for fat loss. As well for muscle build, so beta-alanine, it gives you energy production in your muscles, right? So this is one of the amino acids that we also typically like to have clients do, again, if they're looking for any performance as well enhancers. So beta-alanine, creatine helps with cellular energy for your muscles. Okay, so production for the muscles to last longer in the workout. So say the workout's 90 minutes, creatine will help push that cellular energy to your muscles. Amino complex helps promote growth of lean muscle mass, and it enhances strength and recovery as well. And then whey protein. Same with fat loss. Again, if you're having trouble with the amount of food you're having for that muscle build, whey protein will help you get some of that 30, 40 grams of protein extra that you might need. Any questions on supplements? Yes?
How much time before your workout should you take creatine?
That's a good question. So typically it depends. You can take it before or you can take it after, but there is research where you want to take it around the same time every day. So even if you're not working out, you want to still take it on your days off so that you still keep that increase of cellular energy up, that supply of energy. Yep. So you can take it before if it's easier and like a smoothie. You can just put it in a smoothie or something like that. Yep. That's a good question. All right. So this is also for key dates and for your habit tracking. So we did our next step sheets, right? Some of you have been writing out notes on the front, on the back. These are to help you figure out what you're doing, how you're going to do it, what is the action, right? So how are you going to make this happen? Eating more protein, how are you going to do that? And then the accountability piece, whether you're tracking your food, whether you're taking photos of your food for your coach, right? Being able, again, to utilize your coaches in the app to help support you in these 21 days. As well as utilizing that 30-minute skill session. So we do have a sheet. I know some of you are, again, signed up and not signed up, but there's this 21-day spring program sheet. If you are signing up, of what coach you want to work with, what you want to focus on, and then the coach will reach out to you so that you guys can get set up for that 30 minutes. It can be anything. You can just sit down and talk to us for 30 minutes. It can be a therapy session if you want. We're here for you. And then key dates, right? So for the program, we want to have your initial in-body before March 31st. Okay, so before March 31st, final in-body and testimonial. I wrote at least 500 words because I want to hear from you guys of what helped, what's something that you may have needed more support in, more guidance, things like that, just what you learned, what you took from the program before April 23rd. And I think that's a Wednesday. So, winners, one male, one female, gets a $200 gift card to Avexia. So you get to hang out with us. It's great. And then April 26th, we'll have a workout as well to celebrate those who did the program. It's open to everyone just to hang out. So those are just some key dates for the program. Do we have any more questions? Yes.
I know you had a slide that mentioned about like stress management and all that. And
Mm-hmm.
I know one struggle that I tend to have is like when I am stressed. I know people mention like things to help reduce stress, but
Mm-hmm.
I feel inclined to want to eat something a little bit more not sweet,
Mm-hmm.
especially chocolate for myself.
Yes.
What would you recommend as like something like, especially if it's like a late night snack and you like right before bed and you have a craving to eat something? What would you say is the preferred substitute as opposed to something really sweet?
Really, really sweet. Yeah. One of the go-tos would be like a Greek yogurt with dark chocolate. Because that dark chocolate's going to give you that sense of sweetness that you want, but it also has magnesium in it, which helps you relax. So you're still getting that chocolate, and then the yogurt's going to help as well with some sort of protein, make you feel full before bed.
So you're saying at least lean towards something more
protein, and you can still have, again, like dark chocolate. You can have like dark chocolate granola or put something in there like that, but you want to have a protein with it.
You wouldn't recommend like fruit to replace that?
You could have.
I feel like that's where I tend to want to have a craving.
Yeah. Is it like a couple hours after dinner? Like before bed?
Maybe like 30 minutes or an hour before I sleep.
Okay. So again, you could do a piece of fruit with yogurt, protein shake, something like that.
I see.
Yep.
But you should get the protein.
Yes. The reason why, too, we talk about timing of carbs is when we're sleeping, again, we're trying to utilize fat metabolism. So you're burning fat when you're sleeping. When you have a carb before bed, it slows that fat metabolism down and starts to use carbs first when we want to use fats when we're sleeping. Does that make sense? So slowing it down could be utilizing a protein with that banana or something. Does that make sense? Instead of having like quick sugar right before you go to bed.
Yeah.
Right?
I think, yeah, I want to find something else, but what to choose?
Yes. What are you choosing now?
I tried to avoid.
You just ignore it. Put it away.
I still have a little bit of chocolate. It's like, oh, there's my nephew needs some candy. Let's hear.
You're like,
it's a little fun size. So it's like,
the
oh,
fun
it feels all right.
size.
So it feels all right.
Yeah. And again, there's sometimes where, again, we're not saying that you can't have candy.
Yeah.
We like to have it sometimes too.
I want to keep myself more accountable.
Right. Think about that. Maybe that could be more of like middle of the afternoon or evening, like in between your meals. And then before you go to bed, it's more of like a yogurt, dark chocolate, something like that.
And if I could try to make it more of a habit,
Yes.
then I'd feel less inclined to do that.
Yes. That should be on your next step sheet. That's a good one.
Yeah.
Any other questions?